sure this is actually working. Let's see. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Okay, I'm being streamed on Facebook. Okay, here we go. All right, this is live. So let me hit the record button to make it live. All right. All right, folks. Welcome. We're streaming this live on Facebook right now. We got some folks joining us here live within Zoom. You've got this. This is a bonus. We don't typically do this every week, but we've got people joining us live on Facebook. We have folks joining us live here within Zoom. The folks within Zoom get a special treat because you can drop questions, ask anything you want. And that's only offered to folks that are on our PowerISA newsletter. So be sure you're on the newsletter. All right. Great. So we got a special treat for you guys today. Usually the webinars are me with a PowerPoint deck talking about some specific topic. But today we got something special. We have an actual ISA. We're going to interview, going to pick his brain. We're going to get some great information from him because he's just coming off a really successful campaign where he has gotten his agent 4 listings over the last 90 days. 4 listings over the last 90 days, which is an awesome result. It's a great result. And whenever I share case studies like that, results like that, people are, sometimes they're impressed, but more than anything, they're curious. Like, but how, man? How? Because I've never been able to get that with an ISA. I want to do this. I want to make it happen. So I want to make sure because I share, a lot of different results, and people are always coming. They've got those questions and they want to know. So I decided to have this session, not just to talk about that case study, but to get it from the horse's mouth, right? Like 100%. Let's dive into it. The folks that are joining us here via Zoom, you guys can actually drop any questions in the chat that you want answered. We'll get to them throughout the interview. But Joe, why don't you, tell us a little bit about yourself? How'd you get into real estate? And make these calls, and let's just dive into it, man. Why don't you give us the summary, right? 4 listings in 90 days. How do you think that happened? Go for it, man.
So, like Gustavo said, my name is Joe Cordero, and it's always a pleasure to be here with Gustavo. Love doing these sessions with you. A little bit about myself is, I've been in the ISA industry for quite some time now. I know the ins and outs. I think it's been for about like 8 to 10 years now. And as a matter of fact, I actually first started here with Gustavo. I started out here with PowerISA. I got their training.
And before PowerISA, Joe, I mean, were you in the call center industry? Were you doing sales? Give people the background because sometimes they feel that they can't be successful unless they get someone that's like from the industry already, that's already like a call center veteran. But tell them how you joined us.
Well, I mean, I quite honestly, when I first got started, I was a bit intimidated, because of all the, real estate. I mean, I was like, come on now, I don't think this is for me. And before this, I was never working in the call center industry. I wasn't doing anything similar to what I'm doing now, but I was working for a bondsman out in Fort Worth, Texas. So I was helping them like bond people out of jail. I would do paperwork. I'd have folks call in, hey, I got so and so, can you help me find them? I would find them in the booking, and get them to do paperwork. But that was it. It wasn't anything
Not
related to real
sales,
estate, not
not real
sales.
estate, not call center, none of that. None of that.
If I can go back, I think that was like the only thing I was doing that was kind of similar or had something, to where I would get on the phone or book an appointment or get some information, get some
Got it.
data.
Got it.
That was like the only thing close.
And talking to people, it can be a difficult conversation, right? That doesn't sound like an easy, conversation to have sometimes. So like you were probably not afraid of the phone. Is probably a fair thing to say.
Yeah, I like to, I can hold up a conversation. I know I like to talk. And
Yep.
don't get me started, but yeah, I mean, I could just go on for some time. I guess that's one of the things that you need to have, in this industry, is you can't be scared to get on the phone. You can't get scared to take a few no's, because after I mean, in reality, you're not after those no's. You're just looking for that one yes. It doesn't matter how you get that no. When people say, "Oh, screw off, get this," go to hell, whatever, whatnot. Because they're gonna tell you everything. But you're not in it for those. You're not in it for those. You can just get past those and get to that yes. Get to that yes. Get to that person who's interested.
I got you. I got you. No, 100%. And I think for at least for me, because when I started calling, I would just do circle prospect and some old expired, mostly circle. That's what that's the kind of calling I've done the most, and that's how we started at PowerISA. So as far as I started as originally as like a circle prospecting company, we do all kinds of stuff now. But to be honest with you, for me, a turning point. Let me know if this resonates or not. Was I had to come to terms with the no is the way to the yes. Like the more no's I could accumulate, I know after 50 no's, I'm gonna get a yes. Like I just have to collect the 50 no's. Like how long is it gonna take me to get those no's? And if someone would say no, they'd hang up on me, and sometimes they're gonna cuss you out. They're not gonna be happy you called. It was just getting that much closer to that yes, right? It's just part of the process. Just collecting them, collecting them. And for me, that made it a lot more, a lot more bearable, a lot more doable. And I could always see this is part of the process. This is not a bad call. This is not a bad moment. This is getting to I have to get 50 of these before I get one yes, right? So it was just that. This is not a tragedy. This is not something wrong. This is the process. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. So that always helped me kind of get through it and kind of make sure that I kind of kept my head in the game and wasn't phased by it. I wasn't thrown off by someone not having a good day or just flat out telling you no, right? And click, hanging up the phone. I think that made it, much more bearable. So, Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about this latest campaign that you're on? Those are great results, man. Those are great results. 4 listings in 90 days. And I think it's a very achievable result because sometimes we share some of these case studies. I'm the number one person that'll share them. I love it. 3 listings in 30 days. I got a client right now that he's got 2 ISAs, so it's a little bit not apples to apples, but he got 6 listings in like 6 weeks, like 6 listings in 6 weeks. But I'm going to be really honest with you. Those results aren't typical. So that's just not it's not even an average, right? That's not an average result. That's a home run. That's an extraordinary result. But 4 listings in 90 days, like that is doable. Like, I think that is something, let's call it 3 in 90 days, like one a month. I think that's something that can be achieved by a lot of ISAs. This is not something that has to be, oh my goodness, a grand slam, impossible to repeat this again. So, Joe, tell us that story. Like when did you start? What did you start calling? What was it? Did you start hitting home runs right off the bat? Did you get really good calls? Was it a nurture process? You had some really good conversations months ago, and then just followed up, followed up, followed up. Go for it, man. Tell us that story of those 4 listings. Go.
So, I mean, we started off with the higher valued leads, such as like expireds and for sale by owners. And then once we actually got a listing from one of those, I mean, they all go together. It goes together.
Gotcha.
So we started with for sale by owners and expireds, and once we actually picked up an appointment from there. And may I mention though, the agent that I'm working with this guy is a killer. All I got to do is
Gotcha.
get him face to face to with this client. Out of the appointments that I've sent him to, he's only gotten like 2 no's. But other than that, he gets the listing right away. So the
Gotcha.
first
So
the first one
he just
started.
needs more people to talk to. That's what he needs, more people to talk to. And usually these really great results, like these home run kind of results, come from those kind of people. Like they just need someone more people to talk to because they know how to close. They know how to close. You just don't have time to call. They are doing other things. They're just not talking to enough people. They're not talking to enough people. And I think that's where ISA can add a ton of value. So keep going, Joe. Keep going. So you started calling the FISBO and the expireds right off the bat, and you got a listing from that. Was that like right away? Was that a month in, 2 months
No,
in? Give us a little bit of idea.
it took about like 2 weeks, something
Okay,
like 2-3 weeks to get that first one going.
gotcha.
Um, then once we actually got that listing, we started prospecting around the listing.
Mhm.
We started calling just listed. The just listed scenario. I'm pretty sure, every agent must know it. Hey, we just listed a property here in your neighborhood. There's different ways I actually pitch it. I ask them if they know anyone who's looking to move in. And then I sneak in and say, hey, well, how about yourself? How long have you been in the neighborhood? Have you ever considered maybe upsizing or relocating, or is this your forever home? Start picking their brain a little bit. And you get some good conversations, and obviously not everyone's going to say yes. Not everyone's going to say, oh yeah, as a matter of fact, it's a good thing you called me, I was looking to sell. But you build a little
Yeah.
rapport. And some folks will say, I've thought about it, which that counts for me, because that deserves a follow-up. Okay, you've thought about it. When, what's your timeline, what you looking to do, are you looking to reinvest in the neighborhood, in this area? And depending on what they say, just continue nurturing those folks. And from that first expired, we got a just listed. And after we get a
Okay, so
listing,
hold on. That's really interesting to me, right? Because so you went from like a super, hand raiser list, an expired listing list of expireds are people that want to sell their home, or at least who has tried to sell their home in the near, in the near past, right? So you went from that, got a result there, and then you went to Circle, which is essentially, for the folks that don't know, Circle Prospect just list is calling the phone book, guys. It's calling the phone book in all, and for all intents and purposes. You just go, you're drawing a circle around the listing and calling 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people around it, and using the listing as leverage, like using the listing as the pitch, right? And I love what you did. Just listed. I like just sold a lot. You should call both times, when it's just listed and when it's just sold.
I
You
was
know,
just about to mention that we hit them twice. We hit them
there
with
we
the
go.
just listed,
Oh,
and then we hit them with the
I
just
love
sold,
that.
because
I love that.
once it sells, you actually got a little bit of ammo to throw. I actually
Yeah.
I prefer just sold, because you have some bullet points to go off of. Okay, it sold for, X amount over asking price. It received X amount of offers within this amount of days. So you have a little bit more, a little more things to throw out there that's going to catch their attention. Because with the, just listed, it's like, I mean, even me, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, hoorah, you just listed a home. But then when they say, hey, we just sold, okay, that I might be interested in finding out how much the home sold for. um, Getting familiar with the prices in your neighborhood, it's always good to know. So sometimes when
I
you
don't
call
know
with this
any
information,
in the US. I don't know any homeowner that's not curious, because if they're a homeowner, how much their neighbor's home sold for. I don't know anyone that wouldn't say yes to that. Like, hey, whoa, that you want to know. You want to know because that affects your value too, whether it's going up, whether it's going down.
exactly, exactly. So yeah, we hit them both with that, just listed and the just sold. Even though some of them aren't really interested in finding out, on the just listed information, but the just sold, that one really, to me, that one's a game changer, because you have those bullet points to go off of, and folks tend to catch their ear.
Yeah, yeah, one hundred
So those
percent.
were the first
And
two.
and what time frame are we talking about? Because Circle Prospect is great. I love it. Usually takes a long time to convert those leads, right? So you found someone that's like, boom, you know what? Tell me more. I'm interested. You happen to call me right when I'm thinking of selling. How did that, or what was that conversation like with the just listed lead?
So one of the things that I do with that just sold script is,
Just sold.
I let them know, that the property just sold. I let them know how big the property was, X amount of bedrooms, X amount of bathrooms, square footage, and so from there, from doing the just listed, I got someone who was interested in a cash offer. But whenever I call them, I tell them, hey, we just sold a home here in the area. Do you know anyone who's looking to move in? Do you know anyone who has any real estate plans? How about yourself? Once I get a little bit of info, I ask them, okay, well, would you be open to a cash offer? Or we sold a home here in the area, but we were stuck with a couple more buyers, looking for a perfect home. They love the neighborhood, but they're still looking for a home here in the area. But we just sold one. They lucked out, and we throw in a cash offer. So, hey, would you be open to a cash offer on your home? So, I mean,
Oh, I
if
like
someone who's
that.
open to a cash offer, it's they have intentions to sell.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing though. as a realtor, my agent doesn't go out. Well, yeah, he goes out and he presents to them, look, this is what a cash offer would look like. But you're kind of not going for that. You're kind of going to like kind of push them towards the listing. Hey,
Yeah.
you already have plans
Yeah.
to sell. This is what you would get. If you sell retail. Why are you trying to
Yeah.
sell? Why are you trying to sell for a cash
Because
offer?
the cash offer sounds great until you actually see the number. Because cash offer means, no competition, as is, close quickly, which means less money. It's usually what it means, right? So what? But it's a great attention grabber. People and some people sometimes they just want the convenience, and that, I mean, again, I mean, that's not terrible. I think like 99% of people are going to look at that number and go, and what's the retail? Oh wow, right? It's
Exactly.
a it's real money. The difference is real money, right?
Yeah, and that cash offer is like not many people go for that, but it they we schedule an appointment. They're
It gets your
intrigued.
foot in the door. Get the
Yeah, they're
foot in the door.
intrigued. They're like, all right, what I wonder what this what the cash offer is going to look like. And some cases, some folks are not content with what the cash offer looks like. However, that's when the agent will say, we're like, well, you could go this route. However, you could go this other route, which you're going to walk away with a little bit more in your pocket at the end of the day. So I mean, once the ISA gets the foot in the door, it's up to the agent to pretty much go for the jugular, go for the kill, and then my job is basically just to get him there. But that's basically how we got that second listing off of a listing.
Gotcha. No, and that's great. And so, so about 3 weeks in to get that first listing signed from the expired. How long did it take to get the just sold? What was the time frame there?
It was about, I think I was prospecting for about 3 to 4 weeks in that
Oh
specific area
wow, man,
after we had sold that property.
that's super fast. That's super fast. Like you getting a listing within a month of starting circle that's a home run. That's an extraordinary result. I love that. And just one listing led to another. One led to like a little daisy chain. Boom, 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 boom. I love it. Okay, so we're at this point. We're a couple months in. We're two listings in. Where'd the other ones come from? Fill us in.
Texting, just
Texting.
cold
Okay.
texting. So
Okay.
the way I work in the morning is I come in, and then I work with Mojo, and we also have a texting platform. So I
Gotcha.
come in, I transfer the new leads from Mojo, all the expires, all the for sale by owners, all the withdrawn. So I transfer them into Follow Up Boss. Once I transfer them into Follow Up Boss, it triggers some text messages that we have. So
Gotcha.
in the text message, it's something very brief. Hey, we notice, well, we're depending on whether it's for sale by owner or expired.
So you
We
got
ask them if they.
different campaigns for each. Different campaigns
Mhm.
for each. You've got.
Exactly. We got a different texting campaign for each, and obviously I'm calling, and at the same time I'm keeping an eye on my texting campaign. So just in
Okay.
case if I get a hand raiser, if I get a response, I gotta respond to them immediately. And one of them just happened to catch their attention on what we had to offer, and they texted, hey, it was, we kind of walked into it. We walked into it, they're like, yes, I'm interested. They straight up just lifted their hand. Yeah, hey, I'm interested in what you have to say. And they said, can you stop by on Monday? That's all.
Boom. And this was an expired FISBO? Do you
For sale by
recall
owner.
which one?
This was a for
It
sale
was
by
a for sale
owner.
by owner. A for sale by
Yes.
owner. So you reached out to a for sale by owner.
For sale by
And well,
owner.
not that is wow, it's awesome. So it's just from reaching out every day. Calling, texting. Someone said, you know what? Let's talk.
Yep. It was
Love
that
it.
easy. I was
Gotcha.
surprised. I was shocked. I was like, hey, it was like they just walked through the office, like, hey, yeah, I'm interested. I was like, hey, well, hey, we'll take it.
How long had they been on the market? Do you recall? Like that just a brand new for sale by owner. I'd been there for a few weeks. Do you
It,
remember
it
what that was?
it was there for like I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. It wasn't that long.
Gotcha. Usually for FISBO, after the 2 week mark, they start to the opportunity opens up a lot. Like after 2 weeks, like 2 weeks in, they might think, you know what, I might not sell right away. This might take a little bit longer than I
And
thought it
funny
would.
thing about Fizbos is I call
Yeah.
them every Monday. I call them every Monday,
Oh,
every single
gotcha,
Monday,
gotcha.
and I asked them like, hey, how'd it go over the weekend? I call them and I don't try to like, hey, let's list the home. I want to know how they've been going through their experience. Now, how are things going? Did you guys get any offers over the weekend? That's like my main line. Hey, this Joe, we
Gotcha.
spoke last week. Is your house still available? Did you guys get any offers over the weekend? Okay. Yeah, we got some luck out and say, yeah, we got an offer pending, you know,
All
um,
right. It
but
happens.
just continue calling them every Monday, and it's like just a matter of time, one of them is going to say, hey, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see what you guys have to say, and my agent throws in a little bit of extra things in there to kind of catch their attention. We have a moving truck, we have folks that can help move the stuff as well. So it's just like I guess what we like to throw there is like those bullet points to catch their attention. It's like everyone could sell a house. I mean, what makes you different than the last agent that called me? What makes you
Gotcha.
different than the guy that called me last Monday or the Monday before? So that's what I like to, in every single one of my call, I like to throw that out there, because I mean, in my experience, and I've made tons of these calls. That's what people tell me. They've told me that straight up. Okay, dude, what do you offer that the other 300 agents from this town
100%.
has called me
that
about?
that
What
have
do you
been
have different?
calling me. Yeah, what's because they can't tell the difference for a lot for most agents. Joe, most of them use the same script. But if they're using the Keller Williams script or they're using the Tom Ferry script, most of them are almost saying the same thing, right? For as a consumer, it's very frustrating. It's not fun, and you can't tell the difference. And when you can't tell the difference, it ends up saying, well, how much do you charge? Because that guy's charge is willing to go to 2%. Well, how much are you willing to go down to? Right. That's the only difference. Because if you can't tell the difference between people, you're always going to go on price. That's all you've got to go off of. And that's not a good place to be. It's just not. If you don't have a good offer. So it sounds like, you guys have a really good offer. That gets people's attention, gets your foot in the door. You mentioned, the moving truck and moving assistance. You mentioned the all cash offer, no hassle. You got things to get people interested because it's not enough to just make. Let me use this to kind of tell this to the whole audience. It's not enough to just make the call. It's not enough. The call. I mean, if you don't make the call, you're not going to go anywhere. But once you get the person on the line, you got to have a good offer for them. Something that gets their attention, that sets you apart. Because Fizbo Expired, they're hand raisers. They're motivated sellers. You got to get their attention ASAP and get in front of them as soon as possible. I love that. So listing number 3 came from following up with those Fizbos. And this guy had you spoken to this person before, or that's the first response I had given you guys?
That was the first response, Gus. That was their
Eh,
very first response. He's like,
but he
hey,
didn't stop following up. He didn't stop following up. He kept hitting him up.
yeah, the guy just responded. He's like, you got time for an appointment on Monday? I was like, hey,
Boom.
what time works for you? Let's book it. Let's pencil it in.
Perfect.
Let's make it
Let's do
happen.
it. 100%. I love that. I love that. And that was listing number 3.
That was listing
And
number
and
three.
and and what was listing number 4? Walk us through that one.
It was another for sale by owner. It was another for sale by owner.
Nice.
That's why I
Nice.
mentioned beforehand, calling them on Mondays, because um I don't know for if it covers every single or everywhere every state of the country, but for sell by owners, they sooner or later they're gonna list with an agent. So it's
The
just a matter of being
majority do.
constant with them and
Yeah.
following up. And that Monday call, I love it, because it's like me as an ISA, like I kind of need like a reason to give you a call, like besides like, hey, are you ready to list now? Because that
Mhm.
kind of gets kind of old and you don't want to sound pushy, you don't want to sound too salesy, so
Yeah.
I like to have just a genuine conversation, that way I don't sound like I'm just pushing for that listing. So those for
Yeah.
sale by owners, call them on Monday. Hey, John Doe, how's it going? I spoke to you on last Thursday, last Friday, what have you. Did you get any luck over the weekend? Did you have any open houses? Did you have any showings? Did you have any, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
And it gets frustrating. It gets frustrating for some of these for sale by owners.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and it just depends and then it's always going to come down to how motivated they are, right? But a lot of them are not going to let you know that. I mean, they're they're kind of clammed up. They don't want to be receptive, but that's why the follow up is so important. Especially for sell by owner, they've got their hand raised. They need to sell their home. Some of them more urgently than others, but whoever wins that follow up game is going to win. It's going to get the listing.
oh, definitely, definitely. You don't know how many times I've been like prospecting clients and for like weeks, days, I've been circling back with them, and then I touch base again. They're like, you know what? I actually just listed. Oh, I listed last week. I listed X, and I'm like, oh my God, what the
Hundred
heck,
percent, man. 100%. That's it. If you don't get them, someone else is going to get them. But the ones that don't sell right away, because some do sell right away, the ones that don't sell right away, 90% of them are going to list the property. It's just a matter of when, right? It might be a couple of weeks in, might be, for me, the sweet spot's like 2 to 4 weeks in, but some are going to be on the market. They're a little more stubborn. But 90% of them are going to list. 90% are going to list. It's just a question of is it going to be you or not, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely does.
And that fourth one came from your regular calls on the Mondays, or where'd that fourth one come from? Was
Yeah,
it
it
text?
came
Was
from
it a call?
the regular Monday calls. It was someone that I had
Gotcha.
constantly, followed up with. They knew who we were. Sent them
Ah,
info via email. We sent them like a market update. Like whenever we would sell another property, we would send them info. Like, hey, this person saved this much money, or we helped them walk away with extra money just by listing, and not doing for
love it.
sale by owner. And they one of those Mondays, I gave them a call. I was like, hey, how's it going? And same thing as that text. They're like, hey, Joe, I'm ready to talk to your guy, man. Can you have him come over the weekend? And
Gotcha.
that's all it took. That's all it took. And then, again, the agent that I'm making calls for is, this guy's a killer. All I need to do is, get him to these appointments, and he takes care of the rest. I think he only he wasn't able to get a listing just from 2 appointments. I think that's it. Out of like, I think
Wow.
anywhere from like 10 to 12 that we've been, um, that I've sent him in about like I don't know how many months we've been working together, but they're the appointments that I send this guy. It's like because I do all the follow up. I do all the follow up
Gotcha.
myself.
So you've taken the role of, you're booking, you're following up with the leads, you're nurturing the leads, and you're just handing off transaction ready people, like people that are ready to go meet with them. And you just have, I mean, that takes a lot of skill because a lot of times I'll recommend to agents that the ISAs hand them over the nurtures and the agents should do the nurturing. But I think here you guys have a good fit on skill set. You're a very skilled ISA and he's a very skilled agent. So you guys are taking it next level. You're only booking appointments for him.
Yeah, but I mean, we work very close. Another thing that we do is like when I talk to clients and they sound that that there is some genuine interest, but they don't want to they don't want to talk to them. They don't want to they don't want to meet up. I tell them, hey, you try giving them a call. Kind of do like a courtesy call. Hey, you just spoke to Joe. I want to see how
Oh,
he's
he'll
doing.
he'll
How
he'll
did he?
help you on the gotcha. He'll jump in on some of those that aren't appointments anyway.
Yeah,
Nurture.
yeah, yeah. He'll jump in, and if I'm not able to contact them, he'll call them as well. Because one of the another thing that I've noticed about making these phone calls is just being consistent with the calls. Continue calling these folks, touching base, even if it's not me. My agent calls them at least every 2 weeks. Hey, you spoke to Joe. Just wanted to introduce myself.
Oh, so you guys do both then. So you're handing off appointments to him. The hottest leads, you're handing off appointments. But even if it's not an appointment, you're handing him off, and he's helping the nurture as well. He's helping them
Yeah, like leads that I feel that are like real good
close.
leads, yeah, real close. They just like I don't know, maybe maybe it needs that I don't know how to say it. I guess that realtor magic, like I know for
Gotcha.
sure
Yeah,
this guy I know he wants to sell. I know he but I guess I just can't get him to commit. I'll tell him, hey, you give him a
gotcha.
call. And the way he does is
I need
the
an
way
assist.
yeah, the way he does it, it's not like he kind of does it like it's a little sneaky, He's like, hey, you got in contact with Joe, just wanted to see how he was doing, but like it's kind of like a call to see if I was treating him good, if I was doing a good job, if I was doing a good job, basically. And then that's when he kind of sneaks in, oh, well, he kind of mentioned that you were interested in this or that. We go off of the notes of from Follow Up Boss, and or just directly in Follow Up Boss, I'll tag him in there and say, hey, call this guy. Every 2 weeks I tag a couple leads in there, ones that I haven't been able to contact. Hey, you try giving them a call.
Awesome. Awesome. No, I love it because that's collaboration, man. You guys are working together, working in tandem. I'm always concerned when the agent and the ISA have a very closed off relationship. There's not a lot of communication. They're just throwing things over the wall, hoping they work. It doesn't really work that way. It's very hard to make that work, right? You got to have that continuous communication and you got to do both. Like the appointment setting is great. People love that. If you're setting appointments, that's awesome. Not every lead's going to be an appointment from an ISA. It's not, that's just the reality, right? And that's going to lead to more deals if you're handing off those nurtures, maybe the hot nurtures, the hot leads, whatever you want to call them, the most motivated ones that aren't ready to book an appointment. You can't get them to say yes. Agents should jump in and give them another shot, right? I really like that. So Joe, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about tech. Let's talk about the tools that got you to this process. You mentioned Mojo. Mojo's a great dialer, awesome one. What about the data? Because you guys are calling expired, FISBO, you even did some Circle. Where you guys, what data providers do you guys recommend? Are you getting everything from Mojo? Is it like a RedX, Vulcan? What are you guys using?
We're getting everything through Mojo. We're getting all the
Wow.
all the expires, all the sub by owners from Mojo.
Buying it from Mojo because Mojo
Hmm.
sells all that stuff. You can connect all the other data sources to Mojo, but Mojo sells it too. And that's interesting, man. Because not to knock Mojo, I love them, but the dialer is really really good, best in class, like very easy to use. The data, is I would say, just being honest with you, not best in class. It's not typically. But if you're getting results from it, power to you, man. You can use it. Don't listen to me. But that's awesome. That's good to hear.
But here's the thing. One of the things that I've noticed about Mojo, because I mean I've been in the ISA industry for quite some time, so I'm pretty versed with uh Redx, Vulcan 7, Mojo. But I guess it depends on what you need it for. Like Mojo, I love their neighborhood search. I love
Yeah,
their neighborhood search. It pulls tons of data, tons. And Vulcan 7, unless you get that upsell, it doesn't give you that,
it's
it doesn't give
pricey,
you that
man.
option.
It's not cheap. And Vulcan, Vulcan costs that money for a reason. I think it's a great tool, but I don't know if I'd get their neighborhood search op whatever they call it, their neighborhood thing. I think that it's pricey. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be really really good contact rate, really good results to justify it. I prefer the ones that sell it a little bit more in the middle, like a little bit more in bulk. Mojo, RedX have like a better, like a lower cost GeoLeads product, and you're getting results from it. So like, hey, power to you. That's it. That's the one
Here,
you want.
here's the thing, Gus. Like, I dial straight from Mojo, sometime. But remember, I told you earlier that we pass all the data from Mojo. We
To follow up us.
throw it into Follow Up Boss, and then Follow Up Boss starts sending texts, starts sending emails from the info that we have there in Mojo. So I make
Got it.
calls off of Mojo for the first couple of hours. I get some pickups, I get some hangups, I get some folks who are interested. Then, 4 hours in, I go into Follow Up Boss, and I'm calling the same expireds. I'm calling the same for sell by owners that I called earlier that morning, but with a different number. So I'm
I
calling
got you.
them with the Follow Up Boss
Switching
line
out
now.
those
Yes,
numbers. I
switching out
love
the
it. I
numbers.
love it.
And then if I don't get any traction there, then later in the afternoon I go back to Mojo, but I switch up another number. So I'm calling like for sell by owners and expireds, the new ones, like the most recent ones, like man, anywhere from like 3 to 5, maybe even 6 times a day
Wow. Wow.
from
Just
different
you just
numbers.
hitting them hard, calling them from different numbers, giving an opportunity to pick up, right? Giving yourself an opportunity to have a contact with these same folks. And that's first day, like when they're fresh, you hit them like 6 times during the day, that first day only, or do you continue for several days after that?
Well, the first day they do get hit that hard. It starts dying down throughout the week.
That makes sense. That makes sense because that first day, I mean, it's highest opportunity to get in touch with them. It really is, right? So you got. I mean, know your numbers, know the market, and jump on it. And you got to jump on them to get their attention. You got to be first, or you got to be persistent.
Yeah, so like I guess a piece of advice that I could that I can, give is numbers. Have some throwaway numbers, numbers that you could just,
You have to.
yeah, you have to have, the more you have, the better, because um, take into consideration you're not going to be, the only realtor calling, so
Oh no.
the more you call, the more chances you have to talk to these folks.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, so looks like you guys are using, Mojo in conjunction with Follow Up Boss. I think that's awesome. Do you use the multi-line dialer in Mojo, or is it a single line? What do you guys usually use within Mojo?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like, so when I'm calling those fresh, the new expireds, I'm calling them with the single line. But
Gotcha.
once, like, let's say they're a month expired, they haven't picked up, I don't have any note in the CRM or they haven't picked up at all, I throw them in that multi-line dialer.
Gotcha. So when they're brand new, when they're high value, there's not many of them. There's not hundreds of them. You're hitting them one by one, and then once they accumulate, you're using the multi-line dial. Okay, awesome. That's
Yep.
great. Well, I love it, Joe. This is great. Anything else you want to share with the audience? Anything else you want to recommend for people to have success with something like this? What would you recommend to them?
Um, what I would recommend is, invest some time with your ISA. Yeah, it does take a little bit of time for you guys to get in the groove, but once that's done and set, man, it's awesome. It's like clockwork. You already know how you work as a team. You work together. The first couple of days, first couple of weeks, even myself, as an experienced ISA, I got to go through like some some bullet points, like how far, like if I book an appointment, X amount of hours away from the office, like are you willing to drive all the way out there?
Yeah, man.
Or what
That's
town or what side of town do you want
100%.
me to stay away from? And I didn't find out of those about those things until I started booking some appointments. Hey, I booked you an appointment over here. Like, hey, no, I don't want to go to that side of town. It's not safe.
Gotcha. No, it's
Just
good to know.
little things like that. Spend a little bit of
Got it.
time with your ISA. Let them, because no one knows your area better than you. So I guess those are just some things that you need to get out of the way beforehand. And even if you don't take care of them at the beginning, they're gonna come up sooner or later. They come up. Like that's exactly what happened. I booked an appointment. I let my agent know, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, I forgot to tell you, I don't travel to that side of town." So yeah,
Okay.
just spend a little bit of
you,
time
you,
with
you're
your
gonna
with your
learn.
ISA.
I think the first 30 days are so much about that, those little details, right? Because they're little, but they're important, right? So you got to get those out of the way, and there's no other way than to talk them through. There's no other way. You can't, I don't think you're gonna build a whole like a whole video course and all the details. It's not gonna happen, right? You got to learn by doing. And you need that feedback loop to be like that, man. If you want to get results quickly, you need that feedback loop to accelerate because otherwise if it takes you a couple days to get your feedback and then once a week you're reviewing some calls and then you're getting back to them a few days later, it just delays everything. The learning just gets so much slower. I love it when the agents and the ISA are talking to each other every day, multiple times a day, right? Because they're given that feedback, they're giving those pointers, and they want them to course correct ASAP. You're much more likely to get more success faster. More success faster. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely a dual effort. Definitely a dual effort. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
depends on, how big the team is, but when it's just agent and ISA, it's definitely a dual effort.
Love it, man. Joe, I want to thank you, man. Thanks for jumping in here and sharing this amazing case study. I think it's great. And continued success to you, man. Wish you the best. And thanks
Hey,
everybody for tuning in.
thanks a lot, Gus. Always a pleasure being here with you.
All right. Thanks. Bye, everybody. See you guys on the next one.
Later, Gus.